Hey guys, so playing around with the Luxedo some more here. So thought I'd show you what I've learned so far and show you around a little bit deeper than we did in the first impressions one. So some of the things I mentioned, I think last time, their software is web-based, and that's got pros and cons. But one of the pros is then I can log on to any of my devices. I can do this from my laptop or my phone or whatever just by going to the URL. And it was a little hard to find, but they do have this knowledge base website too with how-tos on how to do the different things, getting started, workspace, etc. And then I also noticed, I don't know what this actually does, but I found this enable tutorial and I'm not sure what that does. If I click on this, I was expecting it to maybe show me something or walk me through something, but it just takes me back to the home screen. So maybe that's a feature that isn't built out yet, not sure. But this is the interface. You've got the projectors. I have one projector, but you can register more than one. And that's actually one thing that would be really nice is if they offered this all-in-one system, but they also had like a cheaper add-on for just the projector, because you don't need multiple all-in-ones. If you have software and then can connect multiple projectors to it, and each projector being a little less than that total price, that would be cool. It'd also be cool if it could be a projector agnostic, because I've got tons of different projectors, and it'd be great if I could add them in here and just use the software. This is where you set up the projector, though. I showed some of this already, but if you're starting like a brand new project, like you want to map your house and start putting things on it, then the first step is to calibrate it. And so if you can see from this little thumbnail, I did a fake house with a piece of foam and painter's tape, just so we could have something to play with before I map this to my main house as well. And so when I calibrated it, it basically was taking pictures of whatever the light was shining on and then took this snapshot. And then I can use that snapshot to do the mapping and the effects for it. So I've already did that. What's also kind of interesting that I haven't played with yet either is it has this project scheduler. One of the problems I had with our show is I'd have to make sure I was home so I could come in and turn on the projector. But with this project scheduler, it looks like you can schedule when it can come on. So if this works the way I understand it, then you just leave it plugged in out in your yard. And as I mentioned last time too, it's got that loop on it so you can anchor it down and lock it in so that hopefully it's a little safer. And then it will just kick on when it's scheduled and start turning on its own so that you don't have to actually be there. So that could be really cool. They do have their own media library that I've started importing some of my own just to play with. We've got Chinese New Year's coming up, and so I thought it might be fun to do something like that on the house if I can get it put together quick enough. So I've been starting to gather some of those, as well as just random effects and well, not effects, but random pictures and things like that. The ones that it comes with are all on these folders. They're all pretty basic. Like you look at the animals, it's clip art effectively, but it can be a good starting point to have some pictures and videos that are already ready for you to use. My projects, these are the ones we've been playing with. My 8-year-old has actually been playing with it too, so that's probably a good sign that even at 8 years old, even though it's a little goofy, he was able to start doing some mapping as well. And these are other just random ones I was playing with. So let's get into it and show you how to create a map and how to start adding effects and things like that. And I'll give you the caveat again that the After Effects guru is my nephew, not me. So the amazing Halloween show that we had was due to his expertise in Adobe After Effects, and took him, it was his first time doing something that scale, so it took, I think it was about 8 months of hard work to get it put together. Now, of course, he's learned a lot of things, so he could do our Christmas one faster and could duplicate it faster, but it still took a lot of effort. And so that's not me. I haven't used After Effects hardly at all. And so this, you'll get my perspective as pretty much a noob to projection mapping. That can be good or bad. I won't have any paradigms necessarily that I need to shift or change from Adobe After Effects. You'll get the perspective of somebody that's trying to do this from scratch and trying to learn what they're doing. And then I'll probably do another video with my nephew comparing it to After Effects so that you can get more of an expert perspective on it too. So you get the noob and you get the experienced guy. Okay, so with that caveat, let's go ahead and create a new project. YouTube video. You can choose landscape. Yeah, that's most of what we're going to do for our houses, right? And you've got your canvas here, your layers over here, the timeline down below, the media up along the top. These buttons help you navigate what types of things you're going to put into your show. And this is obviously the media one. This is if you want to do shapes or text. Once you have a shape or a text or a picture, this can help you choose a path for it to travel on. These are different effects that you can add to it. And this button is where you're going to create the masks. And if you're not familiar with masks, see if I can explain it in a way that makes sense, because I'm still trying to understand it myself. But it's essentially you have a particular video that you only want to shine on one part of your house. Maybe you want to have a shadow walking through one of your upper windows, but you don't want it to be on the house itself. And so you create masks to determine where that effect is going to shine on the house. Masks enable you to do that. So we'll walk through that, how to create masks in here too, but that's on that button. Then you've got some other settings here. You've got the save button. I'm a save early, save often type guy. So I'm going to save it as often as I could in case there's some crash or something. One other benefit with having it be cloud-based is I don't have to have a nice computer for this. I have an okay computer, but it's not like it doesn't have a great graphics card. But all the rendering and processing and stuff like that is happening on their servers, not mine. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do is if you hover over the projectors, then you have a few different options. One we want to do is to go to the snapshots where it took a picture of my little fake house with the painter's tape. So we'll click on that and click on my snapshot that I saved. And there you can see my my house and the ugly thing I tried to put in front of the window so I could try to make it a little darker since I was doing this during the day. There's our house. And so I think the first thing we're going to want to do is get rid of all that garbage in the background. Now let's zoom in just a little so I can see kind of what I'm doing. Let's start with a mask that's going to cut all of that out. So we'll come over to the mask button, create a new mask. And since I've got this irregular edge around the house that I want to do, I'm going to do the freeform mask shape. So I should be able to just click on it here, and then it's got lines where I can trace where I want to go. I think I'm just going to take off the little overhanging edges that I had there, not worry about those. Okay. Now, at first I was naming the masks because I wanted to try to keep track of them. As it turns out, once the masks and the objects end up over onto the canvas over here and on the timeline, it doesn't retain the name. And so I really haven't seen a need for creating a mask name. So I've started to just keep it as the default. Whatever the default is, that's what I've ran with. So I'm not going to bother naming it. I only have one layer so far, so I'll choose layer 0. Must be a programmer that did this if a count starts at 0, right? And create the mask. And you can choose if this effect is going to be within the mask that you created or from without. And it's got this little prompt here to help you remember if you can't remember which one, because sometimes I have a hard time remembering, okay, which way is it that I want this to mask out? So in this case, let's see if I got it right. I want to do the outside. And so right now, whatever I put on the canvas on this is going to be outside of that house mask. It should fall here on the background. So I could do a background. Like maybe I should do the star one that I uploaded just for the heck of it. I mean, normally I would. Let's just see what the star one looks like. Stretch that out. Yeah, there you go. So now it's everything outside of that mask I created. But if I really think about it, if I'm going to be doing this on my actual house, I don't want to be shining stars out on the edges where the house isn't. I really just want it black so that there is no light beyond the borders of the house. So what I'm going to do then is come to the shapes, and I'll just create a big square that can encompass my whole house. It's not letting me drag it for some reason. Let's try changing the color first. I'm going to change that to black. Borders I'm going to drag off to the side so it won't matter. Okay, why is that not letting me adjust it? Okay, we'll just leave it there then. And so I'm going to drag this out to cover the entire area that the projector would shine on. Create that. For some reason it then creates it off the screen, so I'm going to drag it back over to cover everything and save that. So now I have my initial mask, so I have just the house that I want to work on, which is cool. Zoom in here again. All right. Okay, so and on the left, a couple of other things to be aware of. You can make the mask or what effect you put on that mask, that layer, visible or invisible. Yeah, and I shouldn't say it's the mask that's visible. It's everything on the layer you can make visible or invisible. It also has the lock feature, which I'm not entirely sure what the lock feature accomplishes other than turning this gray, because I'm still able to, you'll see as we get further on, you're still able to move these objects around and manipulate things on the layer. So it doesn't appear that locking it locks the layer completely to where you can't add or change things in it. It seems like it just mutes it so that you can keep track of which layer is which and what's doing what. That's the other thing that can get difficult and unwieldy pretty quick, is that there isn't a way that I've found yet to rename these. I can't change layer 1 to background, or this object to, I can't change those names. Maybe there's a way, and I'll probably email Luxedo and see, because it might just be something really simple and I haven't figured it out. But you know, you can't right click on it to change it. Tried down here as well, but haven't found it out, haven't figured out a way to do it yet. So if it's a simple mapping, you can keep track of the layers and objects and it's probably fine. But as you get a lot of layers and a lot of objects, that's going to become difficult to keep track of which layer is which. And so maybe this is a little hack or a little cheat, is if you can mute it, that at least helps you identify what's in that particular layer. All right, let's try something else. So we've got that. Now we can start doing things on the house itself. And reminder, I'm learning this as I go too, so it may not necessarily be smooth. I'm going to just kind of go through this and see what we can figure out. Let's do something simple first then. Let's throw something on this portion of the house. Then we'll go to masks again. Create a new mask, do a square. A lot of these steps are simple enough that my 8-year-old is able to do it just fine. But then when you get into the little details or little idiosyncrasies, then that's where it got kind of difficult or frustrating. All right, got the mask, easy enough. Select the layer that I wanted on. I'm like, well, actually, I think I want that in a separate layer, so I'm going to just leave it blank for now and just create it. And let's create a separate layer. Layer 0 is the one I'm reserving for all the stuff in the background, and layer 1 is going to be my first layer that's on the house itself. So now that I have that created, I can go back to this mask I created and select layer 1. All right, so now we've got a mask there. Let's add something to it. And one of the things I liked about how my nephew did our house was he made it look like it was the house itself. Rather than just a movie or effects on shining on a house as a screen, he made it look like it was the house itself by finding good textures and wallpaper and things like that. So I haven't looked very deep into it yet, but if I'm going to do a Chinese New Year's one, I was trying to think of that same way. Like, what could I put on the exterior of the house that would look really cool, and then have the effects in the windows and doors and things like that. So what I found so far is this bamboo one, which might be kind of fun to do. So I drag that onto the canvas, and then another thing to be aware of is that it automatically defaults that new object. Every time you add one to the canvas, it automatically puts it on layer 0. And so at first that confused me a little because I'd put something on the canvas and I'm like, well, where did it go? And again, the name wasn't very intuitive. So just remember that once you put it on here, it starts on layer 0, but then you can easily drag it to a separate layer. Okay. So there we've got it. And I lucked out that time that my mask was exactly what I wanted it to be. On layer 1, I did the inside mask as opposed to the outside. So I got that just the way I wanted it. Let's do, what should we do next? Maybe we'll do the bamboo on this portion of the house too. But this is where, well, maybe I'll wait on that because it also got kind of interesting when I wanted to then punch holes in that mask and layer the masks so that I could have the bamboo on the house, but still have the windows and the door shining through. So maybe I'll wait on that. Let's put something up on the roof. And so let's go back to, let's do another mask for that. Do a square. We'll put something on the roof here. My roof doesn't reflect that much, so I probably wouldn't do this for real on my house, but we're just learning the tool anyway, right? So throw something on the roof. And I'm going to put that on the same layer as that first bamboo one that I did. Okay, now we see an issue though if I do it on the same layer, huh? And my bamboo is showing in that mask as well. So I either probably need to do it in a different mask or a different layer, or I could shove this down, I suppose. I think I will do a new layer to make sure that those are separate like I want. And then I need to, so I created a second layer. Now I need to go to that mask, mask 2, change that to layer 2. It's interesting that it's multiple selects, not like a radio button where you can only choose one. All right, what should we put on the roof? I was kind of liking this dragon. This is an animated GIF of a dragon that moves around. It looked kind of cool on the roof. And so it ended up, it treats GIFs as videos, and I put it up on layer 0. I'm gonna put it on layer 2 instead. And let's resize that a bit. Okay. Now, anytime during the, when I save for the save often, right? I'm going to save this real quick. And we can hit play at any time and see what it looks like so far. Now it stopped a little sooner than I'd like because that was the length that the GIF automatically came with. So I'm actually going to lengthen that. If I come down to this layer 2 where I put the dragon, I can just drag that, make it longer. That way it'll keep going along with the rest of the video. Okay. All right, well, maybe I procrastinated enough. Let's see if we can figure out how to do layers so that we can get bamboo here and have the windows and the doors open. See if I can remember how to get the order right. It seemed like the trick was getting the right order of the layers. If I got those mixed up, then it didn't work right. So you're going to bear with me as I try to get this right. Let's create a new layer for that. And what's nice is after the fact, you can change the order of these layers because it does seem to matter the order of operations. So if I don't get it right, that's fine. And because it's easier, I think I'll start with the mask that goes around the main part of the house. Come over to masks, new mask, square. Now I'd be curious, I've heard my nephew's opinion on this, but I'd be curious if those of you that have used Blender or After Effects, your impression so far, this seems easier, harder, more or less intuitive compared to those, or if it's about the same. Because the big premise of this tool is that it's something even laymen can use and develop something quickly. So I'd like to test that premise. Put that on our new layer. Okay, so we have that. Let's put the bamboo over on that mask as well. Drag it down into the appropriate layer. So far, so good. So far, it's working like I'd expect it to. Let's see if we can punch out those windows and those doors now. And to do that, let's try this. Blocking, if I do, okay, so I'm going to make that mask invisible, that layer invisible, while I do another layer for the windows and doors. And like I said, this is where it'd be really nice if I could name these layers so I can keep track of them. This is going to get kind of tricky. All right, create a couple masks in here. One for the left window. Now here's another ask for Luxedo developers. There's no copy paste shortcuts with this. It'd be awesome if I could just copy paste that mask, but I don't think it has that functionality. And even more than that, I would love if I could do a Control Z, because I make plenty of mistakes and Control Z is my best friend, so that I can back out of what I did and undo it. But probably because this is cloud-based, doesn't do Control Z. Get these points on. Select layer. And one more for the door. You guys like my fake painter's tape house? Pretty legit, right? If it's not too cold, it is January here in Utah, but if it's not too cold, then I might go out and calibrate this to my house. Then I could have an actual house to do this on. Okay, so now we got those masks. Let's put a couple effects in the door and the windows. So come back over to media. Picked up a couple of other GIFs that I kind of liked. Put that on the canvas. Drag it down to the layer. Groovy. Okay, now I need to resize it. One of the other things that's been a little frustrating in here is when I lose track of the handle. So now you have this cursor with the 4 arrows. Sometimes that disappears spontaneously and I have a hard time getting it back, or sometimes it doesn't function quite like I'd expect. And this seems to be one of those times. I'm trying to figure out what this is grabbing. Let's see if we can figure it out. It's on layer 4. video for it, treats gifts as videos. So there we go, now it's moving. I don't know why it wasn't moving before. Might have a few bugs in it still since it's new. But this little friendly lion dance, we went to a lion dance show a few years ago as a family, and it was really cool. So I always kind of like that. All right, I'm going to turn on layer 3 again just to make sure this looks correct. And it's not showing my bamboo for some reason. But the GIF in the doorway is working. Cool. Okay, but what happened to my bamboo that was on the house? It disappeared on me. Object 3. Maybe I inadvertently moved it when I was monkeying around. Yeah, there it is. I somehow moved it off my screen. All right, so here's where I kind of ran into issues before. I have the door masked and layered on top of the bamboo, but for some reason it isn't showing that way. So let's first make sure I can't just change that with layer 4 being inside or outside. That's not going to solve anything. And my bamboo layer putting it on the outside isn't going to fix it. It's probably something with the order of these layers. So let's try changing the order. If I do, I don't think I want to go that far. So layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. I want to try layer 4 right there. Aha. Okay. We're learning. So layer 4, which is the one with the windows and the doors, needs to come before the background layer of the bamboo. All right, we'll remember that. Okay, let's put something in the windows real quick. Throw that on the canvas. We're going to drag it down to layer 4. Let's lengthen both of these out too, huh? Okay, where to go? Where did my other GIF go? Let's see, I'm thinking about it. Put it on a different layer, can I see it? It's somewhere. Weird, I don't know where it is. Usually if you can't see what's selected, you can click on it down here in the timeline and then it'll select it in here. Let's put it over here. Let's hide some of these other layers for a second so I can find it. I don't know where it is. All right, I'm going to try to add it again then. It's like it doesn't want to show up. I wonder if it is blank at first. Let's hit play and see if it shows up. Nope, I don't know where that one is. All right, maybe we'll try something else in the window then. Do you see it? I got my 8-year-old here too.
Sometimes there's like an X on it, and you like I think have to put it in if where you want it.
Okay, let's try it again. I'm gonna delete it from here.
Right.
Nothing like getting tech support from
Nope.
8-year-old.
Yeah. Like sometimes there'll be like an X.
I wonder if I can put it directly on the layer. That doesn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think. Oh, okay. I'm an idiot. I think it just stacked it on top of the other one. That makes sense.
Yep.
So user error. Just throw him in the window. I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. We'll just throw him in the window like that. And have kind of another character in there. So something like this. And let's extend that out. There we go. There's a bamboo house with some Chinese New Year celebration going on inside and a dragon up on the roof. Should do something up here. Maybe we'll do the fireworks up there, huh? Yeah, let's do some fireworks. That would be cool. All right, let's go back to masks and do a mask for that triangle section. Then we'll probably call it good after this for this particular video, so it's not too long. There's the roof. Gonna put that on. All right, I've already lost track. I think it's layer 2. I can always change it, but I don't know. I've lost track of the layers already. Okay, and then we'll put fireworks in there. There we go. It's not really going to fit in that space, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. This is just to kind of show you around anyway. There we go, fireworks. Kung Hei Fat Choi. I think that's how you say it, right? Oops, oops, oops. Gotta be careful not to like drag things around. I don't want to. I want to just make that GIF last longer. So where's my layer 2? Make that last longer. All right, that's cool. All right, well, the next thing would probably be to show what this looks like on our fake house itself from the projector. And there was another question or bug that I wanted to ask Luxedo about too. On here, all this is blacked out because we used that shape, if you remember, and changed the background color. But when I went to project it, it did not do the black. It was still shining light. And I noticed the same problem when I was playing with some of these windows. I wanted to black out the windows, then have an effect on top, and that didn't work either. So I'm probably doing something wrong there, but that's another thing that I'll have to figure out. Oh, and one other thing that we ought to show, just so you can see some additional functionality too, is the path, how to do paths. And so maybe we'll just do, should we do a bunny?
Okay.
Should we do a bunny bouncing along here? Or if they had an ox, because it's the year of the ox. Let's see what they got. Yeah, it's the year of the ox this year. Let's look at their animals. We got lion, tiger, happy bear.
Happy bear.
They don't have an ox, but we'll just do a bunny.
A rabbit.
Yeah, do a rabbit.
A rabbit.
Okay, I've forgotten which layer this section is. Is that layer? Aha, okay, so it's layer 1. So I'm gonna put that onto layer 1. Whoa, big bunny.
Oh, big bunny.
Let's shrink the bunny down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very hard to not grab the wrong object too, I've noticed. Make him a little smaller and we'll make him move. This was the same bunny that he was playing with when he was doing this. Okay, so I got the bunny there. And we'll do a path for it. And did you do this path or did you do the freeform path?
I did
this one
that you're on right now. Yep.
Okay, so as soon as I click on that.
And then I just started going that and then click. And kept doing that.
Okay. So click, click, click. We're making it look like it's bouncing, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's see how it looks.
Let's see.
Here you go. So you get some movement.
Got a lot of movement.
Got a lot of movement. Okay, well, that's probably a good stopping point for this video, so it's not too long. Not to mention, this is about as far as I've learned how to use things in here too. So we'll probably upload some more with some more details. If there's some specific functionality or things that you want us to cover on this, then put it in the comments, and I'll try to address that too in some other videos as we're evaluating this. And then we'll go from there. And I will show you also how to put this onto our house with the projector. Done rendering, and here we go. There's a couple things off I noticed. I don't know if it didn't save it or what, but our firework is not filling up the entire space like we put on the map. Yeah. I don't know why that is. And the dragon isn't filling up that space. So it's little kinks like that we got to figure out, but it is more or less working.
We could get a bunny bounces.
And then we got to move our projector around a little bit. I think our foam and the projector got out of place. Actually, that's probably what's wrong over here. It probably is just the foam and the projector
everything
not
else
lined up.
is icky. I ended up the door.
Yeah.
And then these are just messed up.
We got our other project over there.
Candyman.
So, yeah. That took what? How long was my video? 15, 20 minutes? I'll have to see how long the video is, but not bad to get something very basic up and running.